Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hampton Roads Business Live. My name is Rory Graham, and I'm here today with Dimitri Loucas from Keyclo, LLC. Welcome.
Thank you, Rory.
Why don't we just start off with give us an overview of what is Keyclo?
Well, Keyclo is a company that helps doctors with the business side of their medical practice.
Okay.
Doctors are geniuses when it comes to fixing our hearts and our knees. However, when it comes to the business side of the practice, it can get challenging, especially with everything that's changed within the past decade. It's becoming increasingly difficult for them to learn about the new technologies and processes for the business side of the practice when they also have to worry about new medications and medical technologies to help us as patients with our aches and pains.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing at Keyclo is we're helping them relieve some of that stress, some of that frustration on the business side, so they could be more efficient and they could be spending more time with their patients rather than paperwork.
Yeah, well, it's hard to be an expert at everything.
Right.
And with technology and everything is changing, much less regulations are changing for everybody all the time.
Absolutely.
So it's getting harder and harder. Everything's moving so fast. Where did the name Keyclo come from?
Well, my heritage is Greek. My wife is Greek as well. Me and my wife Gina, and we have two daughters, Constantina, we call her Dina for short, and Eleni. We wanted to use our heritage when it came to the company, but we wanted it to make sense as well. So when we're looking at the business side of a medical practice, we're looking at their business cycle or revenue cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing is, I was driving around the car one day and I just, thought to myself, Keyclo. That's the Greek word for cycle. I called my wife. She said, yeah, you know what? I like it. Got home and I was telling our daughters about it, saying Keyclo is the name of the company. What do you think? They're like, great. And I'm like, we're going to spell it Keyclo, under the notion that a key would be our logo. And my daughter Dina looked at me and she said, hey, Dad, why don't you put a K inside the key? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So she literally drew on the piece of paper the K inside the key, the way our logo is today. And I was like, great, you get 100% credit for it. My youngest daughter, Eleni, unfortunately wanted pink in our logo, and I said, sorry, honey, we'll figure something out for you.
Good move. Good move there. Okay. So you mentioned revenue cycle management. Can you go into that a little bit so I understand exactly what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, revenue cycle management, when I am talking to doctors and people in the medical profession about that, and people that know as yourself, when I mentioned to you we're a revenue cycle management company, said, oh, you do medical billing, which is the term that has been associated with medical billing for quite some time. Being in business for the past 20 years, I wanted to put the medical practice as a normal business. And how does a normal business work? A retail store down the street, their revenue cycle is, what are the steps you're taking before a customer visits the location? What are the services you're providing while they're there? Mm-hmm. And what are you doing after they leave to retain them as customers and keep that revenue cycle moving? Mm-hmm. Well, in a medical practice, it's the same thing, except you're changing the word customer to patient. So what is a medical practice doing before, during, and after that patient visit can affect the revenue cycle positively or negatively. And that is one of the things why we provide a practice analysis to these medical practices to really understand what is happening within the revenue cycle to see where we can help.
Okay, well, that's a good lead into practice analysis. So what is a practice analysis?
A practice analysis, number one, it's absolutely free. Any medical practice that wants to know what's happening on the business side,
You all should.
and they should know it. We want to do absolutely free. We want to give it to them. We want them to give them that knowledge so they understand what's happening. Mm-hmm. So we'll dive deep into those three phases of the revenue cycle. We're going to look at what's your appointment scheduling process? What is your patient check-in process? How are you attracting your patients? What are you doing as medical claims processing? How are you handling HIPAA compliance and the regulations that are coming on? Some of the incentives that are coming down the pipe as well. How did you handle the coding changes that recently happened? We want to dive deep into the medical practice because the practice analysis is meant to do one of two things. First, to let the doctor know of any areas of improvement that they need to know about. Or two, let them know that everything's running fine and they really don't need any help and just keep doing what they're doing. Either way, it's meant to be a win-win for the medical practice.
And it's a free thing.
Absolutely.
All right, well, you can't fix it if you don't know it's broke.
That's the whole point.
So what is your target market then? Who are you actually looking for?
We are looking for private medical practices. We want to make sure these private medical practices stay private. So we're looking for family physicians, pediatricians, podiatrists, gastroenterologists, any medical practice where the doctor is forward thinking, understands that technology can help them improve their revenue cycle, can really, keep the money coming in and maximize the cash flow that's coming in, and who's curious about what's happening currently with their medical practice and see if there's any ways where we can help them improve.
Okay, so let's say I have a medical practice and I'm looking at this and I say, that sounds interesting. I mean, it wouldn't cost me anything to find out. So what is the process of them getting involved with you?
It's real simple. They can go to our website, www.keyclo.com. I think I have a button on every page saying, contact us for your free practice analysis. Or they can give us a call and schedule one.
And how long does an analysis take?
A practice analysis will take anywhere from between 30 minutes to an hour. Normally,
really? That's fast.
Yeah, normally it's performed with the office manager because the office manager is the one that's dealing with the day-to-day operations. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible for them. We don't want to take up too much of their time. We'll take back the data that we get from the practice analysis and analyze it, and the following week we'll come back and we'll show them where the areas of improvement are needed and how we can do what we can do to help them make sure that they're as efficient as possible.
So you're not a serious disruption to their business or anything. It just takes an hour of their time, of the office manager's time to give you the information that you need to analyze.
Yeah, their primary business models are helping patients. And you know what? People need the care. So I don't want to take anything away from them helping their patients. Let me do it at a time where it's more convenient for them. So even if it's before hours or after hours, we're open whenever they have the time to do the practice analysis.
Well, that's convenient.
We try.
Is there anything I forgot to mention that you want to talk about?
One of the things is what differentiates us from our competition when it comes to Keyclo. We take more of a proactive approach to the processes, and what I mean by that is our systems, we have what's called a clearinghouse, and that's the entity between the medical practice and the insurance company. And our clearinghouse is integrated into our system. So if we're going to insurance eligibility verifications, the process nowadays for many practices are they hop on the phone, they'll sit on hold for about a half hour and see if someone's verified, their insurance is verified with the insurance company. Well, with our system, they can actually do an insurance verification without calling the insurance company and do that days prior to the patient coming into the practice. So what does that do? It saves them time. So again, they could focus on patients. And it also gives them more of a proactive approach saying, Rory, there's an issue with your insurance. Please contact your insurance carrier to make sure that everything's okay. So then you can proactively go in there, take care of that.
So the patient can go and sit on the phone for an hour.
It's their insurance. They have to fix it.
I'm teasing you. Yeah. Well, that sounds like that's just taking advantage of technology.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are in 2016, and technology has been evolving so fast, and that's why many of the technologies we utilize are cloud technologies because of the way the world works today.
Yeah, everything's instantly available everywhere.
Absolutely, so. You know it.
Okay, all right. Well, if you have a medical practice and you would like a free assessment as to how well it's doing as far as your systems go and your revenue cycle, you can call Dimitri at Keyclo. The contact information is at the end of this video. It's also on the bottom of this page, and I'm sure that they can arrange a free consultation for you where they go in, they do an assessment with your office manager, and if you have any other questions, I'm sure he'd be glad to answer them for you. Thank you so much for coming by, and I appreciate it. It's very interesting. I had not heard of your company, but now I know what it's all about.
That's the whole point. Thank you, Rory.
Okay, thank you.